Hey, this is Paul. I'm from Tampa, Florida, and I'm here at Alpha CNC. Behind me is a 6-sided drilling machine. Now, I'm a cabinet maker, so in cabinets, we almost never drill both sides of the part, only one side. But if you're like IKEA or a production manufacturer, you're going to need to drill both sides of the part and the ends. This is a 6-sided drilling machine. There are a couple companies that make this machine in Jinan, but this one is hands down the best one. Everyone in Jinan wants to buy this machine from Alpha so they can take it apart and reverse engineer it because it kicks butt. This is a 4-axis machine with an air table, and it stands alone in quality, speed, and production from anyone else in China. I've never seen one in Europe, and the Americans don't make one. So if you have a high production cabinet company where you're making an enormous amount of parts, this 6-sided drilling machine will make you money. And it's very difficult to come by because there's not many of them around. As you can see, there's a hell of a lot of them being made here, and this is the best 6-sided drilling machine on the planet Earth that you can find. Hey, I'm Paul. We're here at Alpha CNC. This is a final assembly of the machines. I came here to get a 2040 3-axis with a gang drill and a ATC spindle. Behind me is a 1325 with an ATC. There are some things that I'd like to talk about that separate the Alpha machine from any other machine in Jinan and around the world. One, you can't see it, but there's an electric switch that controls the vacuum system so that you can unload and load the machine from the table without turning the vacuum pump off. Every time you turn your Becker vacuum pump off and turn it back on, it draws an enormous amount of electricity, and it's wear and tear on the machine unnecessarily. You'll find this innovation nowhere else. There's a switch that cuts the vacuum off so the pump can stay running. You can unload and load the machine, and here on the controller, you just click a button and it turns off the vacuum pump. Another innovation, I'm familiar with very many Chinese controllers. DSP, NC Studio, Weihong, etc. This is a Syntec. Everyone sells a Syntec 6. The Syntec 6MA is a 3-axis controller. The Syntec 6MB is a 4-axis controller. This is a Syntec FC. Why would you use a more expensive controller? Well, one reason is the Syntec 6, there's 20 connections on every terminal for the driver. They have to be hand soldered one at a time. This leads to mistakes, errors, that makes it difficult to replace a driver. This controller is like the inside of a computer, where it has like an IDE bus cable where you can just unplug the driver cable and pull the driver and then snap the cable back in. It makes repairs easier, it lends to less mistakes, less errors, and less problems. Another thing is here, we have a Y-axis here on this rack, and we have another Y servo motor on this rack. That's what makes the gantry go back and forth. On a standard Syntec 6MA, one of these servos could get out of whack or run faster or slower than the other one, and the Syntec 6 won't know it. So your machine is out of square, and your work is starting to turn out like shit, and you don't even know why. On the Syntec FC controller, it knows if that servo is out of whack from this servo, and it doesn't let it get out, it corrects it immediately. This is inside of a control cabinet. Let's talk about why this is different from the average control cabinet. This here is the computer brain for the Syntec FC. This is basically the brain box that controls everything. Here you have drivers, Yaskawa drivers. There's 4 drivers, 2 Ys, 1 X, 1 Z. This Yaskawa driver is for the tool changer, rotary tool changer. Here you have a frequency filter, so not to interfere with other electronics. Here you have 2 transformers. This is a screen power supply. This is all Schneider Electronics here from France. This is the #1 inverter in China. This is a Delta inverter. Now, you ask me, what the heck is this? What the heck is these things? These are resistors that are unnecessary in most companies. You don't see them in other controllers. Why? Because they cost money. But let me tell you, The reason they're on this machine makes this machine faster and way smoother, because when the machine goes to slow down, this resistor helps it slow down quicker and more thoroughly. Without it, it wouldn't be as fast. This allows your cut time on a complicated cut to be much, much faster. And when I saw the machine run, this is why it's so damn smooth and fast, because they use these resistors where they don't have to. It makes a higher quality machine and a faster, smoother cut. Another innovation that you'll find at Alpha, and you probably find nowhere else in China. Now, all the cabling, this is German wire cabling. Now, if we had a Syntec 6 controller on this control cabinet, you'd have to hand solder all these cables in. And so, with all these drivers, you'd have to do well over 100 pin solders. Well, if you get one wrong, how in the hell do you know where the problem is? But on this FC control cabinet, all these bus cables are simply click and go. So you can change a driver, you unscrew it, you unplug it, you put it back in, you snap it together, plug it in, it's done. It's good to go. Another innovation, unlike any other machine you'll find here in China. Okay, we ran some parts yesterday on this machine, and its speed, the smoothness of the machine, and the accuracy blew my mind. I've ran multicams, Thermwoods, Wikis, Cosmex, L-cams, and this machine, my jaw dropped open when I saw it run. It's so fast and smooth. The controller is liquid smooth. I was completely amazed. Why would this machine be more accurate? Because I just showed you all the machine work and the milling equipment here at Alpha CNC. Most people weld the frame and maybe temper it. Most people don't even grind it by hand or have a frame machine. And all they do is they mill this one side on almost every machine in China, and they put the rack and the glide on. This machine is milled top to bottom. Every single part on it that needs machining is machined with accuracy and care on a specialized steel milling machine. This is a 16 tool changer. This machine has Yaskawa servos on it all the way around. Siemens servos are good, but Yaskawas are faster and more powerful. Siemens lend themselves more to steel milling than they are wood milling. So this is an extremely fast and powerful CNC machine. This machine in particular has a rake on it and a table vacuum, and the Z-axis is a little shorter to the table than most machines here. Has a 200 millimeter Z with a rake and a vacuum. This is a panel machine for cabinet work and architectural panels especially. You can see they all look the same until you look closely at them. And then when you begin to look closely at them, like a car, you see the gaps in the trunk, you can tell the guy that made it knew what the hell they were doing. That's what's going on here. And when you see the machine run, how smooth and fast it is, how powerful it is, you should be sold. And I dare you to compare this machine. You don't have any problem comparing the Alpha machine to anyone else here in Jinan or Hefei or Beijing or Weifang. Not a problem. But what I want you to do is compare this machine to European machines, Wiki, SCM, Morbidelli, American machines, Onthrud, Multicam, Thermwood. I know we all come here for the price. But don't you expect quality? This is the highest quality machine in China, and we'll talk about that how and why later on. Hey, this is Paul. We're at Alpha CNC in Jinan. The first thing I'd like to show you is a Haas-type vertical CNC mill for steel. Most companies here don't make their parts, they buy their parts. Here at Alpha, they make everything. This mechanic behind me is working on a vertical end mill. There's 4 of them here, like a Haas machine. The parts start here from the engineering. which is another unusual feat. Alpha CNC has an engineering department, and before they make your machine is completely engineered with SolidWorks before it comes to the floor for manufacturing. This is one of the things that separates Alpha from every other company in Japan. What do we got here? Gantry support?
Yes, gantry support.
This is a gantry support. Sometimes they're made from cast iron. Here at Alpha, they're made from steel. And then they're welded, and they come over here to these Haas end mills and the Bridgeports. And they use programming from engineering to machine the gantry support the same way it's done in the prints. So they mill all these holes with the Haas vertical mill and the Bridgeport. Other companies use a hand drill and a jig. They clamp a jig and they drill the hand drill. Almost everybody does that in Japan. Not Alpha. Alpha done like GM. It's like General Motors here. There you see the technician. He's got calipers out. He's miking his parts to check for accuracy. Most companies in Japan could give a shit about this level of accuracy at all. As long as the part works and it's close to accurate, it's fine. This is one of the things that separates Alpha from all the other CNC companies in China, especially Japan. Hey, I'm Paul. We're here at Alpha CNC in Japan. Behind me is another vertical mill, 3-axis, and they're machining the gantry supports again, like this gantry support here. It's made here in-house. They make everything here in-house from generated designs from engineering. Here the mechanic is working on another gantry support, and we've got another mechanic over here working on another end mill. Down here is another vertical mill, and he's milling what looks like a bridge. Let's move on to a 3-axis frame machine. Most companies in Japan don't even use a frame machine. They just weld the thing together and they put some caulk in the holes, and that's good enough. Here, the frames are welded in the welding department, and then they're sent out for tempering, heat tempering, and then they come back here and they're loaded on a frame machine and milled flat. It's a 3-axis frame mill to mill the top of the frame flat. Almost nobody, you could go anywhere in Japan and look at the frame and you will see they don't even grind them by hand, much less put them in a frame machine. It's not that important here. They can make them work without doing that, but the quality is lower. Here you see machineries that lend themselves to a higher quality machine. All right, this is Paul. Back at Alpha, if you look at most Japan CNC machines, you'll see they only mill one surface, and that's where the rack and the glides go. That's it. They don't even grind it by hand from there. But here, behind me, they're milling a gantry in-house. You won't find this level of machine work pretty much anywhere else in Japan. Yesterday, Jack and I were at a factory that was quite a bit larger than this, and they didn't have any milling machines that I saw at all. They just weld it, and then they glue plastic on it, and they use a machine to cut the plastic, which is pretty low quality and normal for what you'll find here in Japan, but not normal for what you find here at Alpha. Here's gantries before milling. They go through the fabrication. They are milled, I'm sorry. To assure the part is true, flat, square, and straight. You won't see this volume and quality of steel milling equipment in anywhere else in Japan that I've seen. Alpha is actually one of the leaders here and the very first CNC machine company in China. This is a gantry getting milled for a machine. You can see it gets more than one cut. Most machines get one cut for the rack and the glides. This machine's milled on 4 sides. The uprights are milled on other machines. The quality and attention to detail here is unlike anybody else in Jinan, or China for that matter. Behind me is the coup de grace. This is a 5-axis steel mill that's big as heck. They're milling a frame right now, as you can see, and it's one hell of a large frame. Most companies in Jinan say that they make their frames on a 5-axis, and they send you a picture of this machine, a machine like this, that they don't have a clue where it is. Well, at Alpha, they know where it is. It's right here in their manufacturing facility. This is one of 3 5-axis frame machines. The level of equipment here, they're armed to the teeth here at Alpha. This is an extremely large frame for a machine, and like I said, most people in Jinan will mill one side just for the rail and the glides, and that's it. They won't mill the frame flat or square. The parts aren't milled. If they're ground by hand, you're lucky. The reason I'm going through all this is because this level of detail, when you build a house, if you build a house on a poor foundation, it's only a matter of time before your house is problematic and settling. So the frame is a very important part of anything, and you can see that the frames here are the best made frames in China without a doubt. I don't have to tell you about it. You can look behind me and see that the machines and the technicians and the designs are more thorough and above and beyond everyone else here. The quality of an Alpha CNC machine is equal to the quality of a Wiki or a HOMAG, SCM, Multicam, Thermwood, and it's not going to be long before we get to go toe-to-toe with these guys and prove what we got. This is another 5-axis frame machine. Technician here is setting up. He's milling a large piece of steel, which I'm not sure what it goes on, but every single side of this piece of steel has been machined. As you can see, this is a larger than average machine. It's gigantic. Here you go. Here's the end of the 5-axis, and you can see how large it is and how competent of the quality you can expect from an Alpha CNC machine. Behind me, in front of me over here, is yet another large 5-axis frame machine, able to do extremely large frames. Now, most shops don't even have one 5-axis machine. Almost nobody has a 5-axis. Here, we've just seen 3 5-axis frame machines. Alpha's armed to the teeth. Not only do they have the equipment, they know how to use it, and they've got the engineering department to design to send the prints down here. Most shops just wing it. They weld it up and use a tape measure and then hope they get it close to right. Here at Alpha, the engineering department uses SolidWorks. They design every single part of the machine, and then it's sent down here to machining on these Haas mills, these Bridgeports, and then finally, when the frame is assembled, they go through these frame machines. This is definitely what sets Alpha aside from everyone else in Jinan and China. The level of quality, detail, machine work, and the machinery that they use to manufacture their equipment, above and beyond everyone else. Here we got more frames, more gantries. You can see that the parts are beautifully machined, perfectly straight. The attention to detail is incredible here. You can see frames over here. Some pretty damn large frames all stacked up. You won't find this kind of machining capability pretty much anywhere in China. And if they've got it, usually they don't even use it or know how to use it. The accuracy of an Alpha stands aside from everyone else here in China. And I can tell you that the accuracy of an Alpha CNC machine, you can expect it to be the best not only in China, but in Europe and America. We'll go toe-to-toe with everybody. The frames are not tempered here because it takes a special facility. So after they're welded, they're sent to a tempering facility where they're heated up and then brought back down in temperature so the frame is all relieved of stress. At that point, it's not perfect, but the frame is very happy. That's when it comes back here to get machining on the 5-axis. And so you see why the frames here are better than everybody else in Jinan. It's not because they use a pretty paint. It's because they do the best machine work in China right here at Alpha CNC. Hey, I'm Paul. If you've seen any of my videos here at Alpha, you know that the quality and attention to detail, engineering capabilities are head and shoulders above everyone else in China, including Jinan. Beautiful, fast, powerful, well-made machine. You want to come get the greatest machine for your money on the planet Earth? You come to Alpha. You call Jack now.